Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatharane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna everyone. Happy Nṛsiṁha Caturdaśī to one and all joining in from America and from India. I believe in India also it's today. So I think it's already evening now, late evening. So I hope all of you have already attended the program and seen the Abhishek of Nṛsiṁha Dev and hopefully even broken your fast. And for those in America, well, another good 7-8 hours to go, depending on where you are. And if you are in the Pacific time zone, 3 hours behind, well, all the best, another 12 hours to go. So, so welcome everyone on this most auspicious occasion of Nṛsiṁha Caturdaśī. It's our honor and privilege to be getting back to the 7th canto of Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam, where we can study together, read together, hear together the glorious, wonderful pastime of the appearance of Nṛsiṁha Dev, the protection of Prahlāda Maharaj, and the disappearance of Hiranyakashipu. Srila Prabhupada loved this section of Srimad Bhagavatam. If you hear the classes of Srila Prabhupada and read the transcripts of his classes, and even in his books actually, profuse quotations from the teachings of Prahlāda Maharaj, the prayers of Prahlāda Maharaj. Actually, it's described that Prabhupada was so attached to the 7th canto that many times Srila Prabhupada would invoke Prahlāda Maharaj's example, even in morning walks and even in room conversations to disciples and to devotees, saying that, look how selfless Prahlāda Maharaj is. He's not concerned about himself, but actually concerned about saving the whole world, being an ocean of compassion himself. So Srila Prabhupada himself, being an ocean of compassion, could relate to Prahlāda Maharaj, who's an ocean of compassion. Srila Prabhupada left his home and left his comfortable room at Radha Damodar temple and came all the way just to save suffering mankind. And Prahlāda Maharaj was of this same mood, that my Lord, I don't desire to go back home, back to Godhead. My only desire is to save, especially those who are suffering in this world. Naivodvije paraduratyaya vaitaranyastvatvirya gayana mahamritamagna chitta shoche tatho vimukha chetasa indriyartha maya sukhaya bharamudbhavanti mudha. Prahlāda Maharaj very famously remarked that Naivodvije paraduratyaya vaitaranyas. My Lord, O Nṛsiṁha Dev, I don't fear this material world. Why? Tvat virya gayana maha amrita magna chitta. He says, because my chitta, my heart, my consciousness, my mind is magna, is completely drowned, has sunken, is absorbed, is floating and splashing and swimming. Where? Tvat virya gayana maha amrita. In the nectarian ocean of the description of your pastimes. Which means in chanting your names, singing about your glories, and hearing about you, O Nṛsiṁha Dev, which is like the nectar ocean. My mind is completely absorbed. It's like a fish swimming in the nectar ocean of your pastimes. Therefore, I don't have any worry of the birth, old age, disease, and death of this world. However, shoche, I am having a lot of distress. Vimukha chetasa indriyartha. Seeing the condition of those who are atheistic, who are taking a human form from Krishna and actually believing that there is no God. One very great Acharya, he has written in Brij Bhasha, Surdasji, Netrahin Surdasji, he writes, "My Lord, Mosam kaun kutil khalkami." My Lord, who is more fallen? Who is more duplicitous? Who is more lusty than me? He's saying. Why? Nartan diye tahi bisrayo aise namak harami. He says, the person who has given me this naratana, this human form, my Lord, you have given me this human form, rarely achieved human birth, and I'm using it, and I completely believe that you don't exist. I'm using the intelligence of this human form to prove to others that you don't exist after taking it from you. I am so ungrateful. Then he says, Udar bhari bhari udar vishayon ko dhave jaise sukar grami mosam kaun kutil khalkami. My Lord, I am like a village hog, filling my belly and going from place to place to find a good place to sleep and enjoy. I am like a sukar grami. Sukar means a pig and grami means village hog. Bhari bhari udar. Udar means stomach. Bhari udar. The aim of my life, Netrahin Surdasji, who's doing bhajan at Chandra Sarovar, who has not even seen this world, in utter humility, he's writing, my Lord, I am like a village hog, running from place to place only to think about my own eating and sleeping and enjoying. I say, Namaka Harami, I am so ungrateful. I am eating your salt and spitting on your plate. Therefore, my Lord, I am the most fallen, he says. Then he says that, my Lord, in everybody's life, you are hiding as Paramatma. But in my life, even your Kripa Shakti is hiding. You are not showering mercy. You are hiding as Paramatma in everyone's life, but in my life, even your Kripa Shakti, your mercy, your blessings are also hiding. So, Suniye Shripati Swami, oh Lord of Srimati Radharani, please, please listen to me. Please uplift me. So in this way, great acharyas, they bleed. Now, Netrahin Surdasji, he is not an example of sense gratification, but he looks around and he sees that people are so fallen that they don't even know what to pray. So he's singing a song, and if they repeat that song, then they will actually be offering a good prayer. So in this way, Prahlāda Maharaj is saying, my Lord, when I see people in this world who have turned away from you, vimukha chetasa indriyartha, and they're searching for joy in this world, maya sukhaya, for the sukha given by maya, temporary joy. Actually, it doesn't take much intelligence to understand that there is no joy in this world. Absolutely no joy. It can be proven in less than 30 seconds. Let's say there is a mother who has lost her child in a public place. She took a 2-year-old, 3-year-old child holding the hand, and suddenly the child has gotten misplaced. Somewhere, somehow, their hands separated and the little child is lost. Now, this mother is helplessly looking for her child. You tell her, I will give you an all expenses paid trip to Switzerland. You think she will find joy? 100% no. You ask her, okay, I will give you laddu, gulab jamun, rasmalai. No joy. You give her the most expensive clothes and the best car and the biggest home. She says, hame ye kuch bhi nahi chahiye, mujhe mera bachcha de do. This is what the mother will say. And if she has the child, then again she doesn't want any of this. Why? Because if she has her child in her lap and she's looking in the eyes of the child and the child is smiling, that joy is way higher than eating a rasgulla or a gulab jamun. So in separation from that child, none of the objects give her joy. And in the presence of that child, none of those objects give her joy either, because her love is in the child. So imagine if there was joy in this world, she should have found joy even while being in separation from her child. It is the mind. When the mind is absorbed in the child and the child is lost, because the mind is there is no joy in this world. One has to forget that. Only then one can have the mind absorbed in this world and complete confidence and understanding, yes, there is joy. Otherwise, any intelligent person can understand there is no joy. And that is just for attachment to a child who's 2 years old. 4 years ago, the mother didn't have that attachment. Imagine the attachment the living entity has for Krishna, lifetime after lifetime. Our only friend. Madeka bandho mat sangin. Only friend. Our only friend. Everyone else will leave us. 100%. 100%. There is no discussion on this. Today somebody is there, main hu tumhare saath. Acha. There are so many school friends of mine who told that to me 20 years ago. I would play cricket with them. Where are they? I am sitting somewhere, they are somewhere. I don't even know where they are. So they said, I am always there for you. I am a friend. All those words became false because today it doesn't hold true. Then when I went to junior college, there were other friends I was with. And every day we would talk and every day we would spend time. Where are they now? They're all gone. And in this way, one day parents will also leave. Every friend will leave. By Kala Chakra, by the movement of the wheel of time. One day when our parents leave and our grandparents leave, they will go into another body and they will forget us. And we are sitting here crying for them. If they actually belong to us, why are they separated from us? If we belong to them, why are we separated from them? Nadira pravaha kono kashta lage tire. Chaitanya Charitamrita describes like wood pieces come together by one tide or one current of the river, and by another current they are separated. One mother loves the child all her life. At the time of death, she has to leave and go. The child now has to continue his or her life ahead. Then next life, another mother. But between the two mothers also, when the child is upside down in the womb of the mother, previous mother has left the child and the new mother has not even seen the child. But between two mothers also Krishna is there. Krishna is always there with us. As Paramatma, he is always there with us. In this world, when someone doesn't follow some rules of family life, some rules of family culture, there are evils like even honor killing, where people don't even consider humanity and morality. Somebody marries somewhere which is not approved by the family, and then they're ready to just reject and even kill, which is so astonishingly surprising and shocking. People are ready to kill their own children in the form of abortion. Where is the love in this world? And here is Shama Sundar Brajendra Nandan. Even when lifetime after lifetime we forget him, he's still there as Paramatma. Even when we become pigs and monkeys and donkeys and pigeons in different bodies, he's still there as Paramatma, waiting for that time when we will turn towards him. Apart from Krishna, apart from Radha and Krishna, we never had anybody. We don't have anybody. We will never have anybody. Our sambandha with this world, our sambandha with this body is like the connection, the sambandha a rabbit has with its horns. Have you seen rabbit with horns ever? Huh? Rabbit ko kabhi singh dekha hai aapne? Have you seen horns to a rabbit? Never. Matlab koi sambandh hi nahi hai. The sambandha that we have with this body or with this world is the sambandha that a rabbit has with its horns, which means there is no sambandha. And all our life we lead lives to please people around us, to keep this body happy. Malish karte hain, we put oil massage, when it's very cold, we put sweaters and jackets, and when it's very hot, we put cotton clothes. We oil our hair, we moisturize our face, क्या क्या नहीं करते. और ये धोखेबाज शरीर क्या करता है फिर? After we pamper and moisturize and take such nice care of this body, what does the body do? With time, it just gets older and older and older and older. The word sharira in Sanskrit means that which is approaching death. That is the definition of the word sharira. That which is dragging us towards old age is called sharira. Dhanani bhumau pashavascha goshthe nari grihadware janashmashane deha chitayam naraloka marge karmani go gacchati jiva eka. Shastra describes when death occurs, what happens? Dhanani bhumau. All the wealth that we have amassed stays underground or in the bank. And pashavascha goshthe, and all the animals that we have remains in the cowshed, which means all the car and the scooter that we have remains in the garage. And wife, Nari Grihadware, she will come up to the door of the house when the body is being taken. And what about our relatives? Jana Shmashane, they can come up to the crematorium. But what about the body? Deha Chitayam, it goes only up to the fire. But what about the soul? Karmani go gachati jiva eka. The soul goes alone. Body is left in the fire. People are left at the crematorium. Spouse is left at home. Wealth is left in the bank. Car and scooter are left in the garage. हम अकेले जाते हैं. किनके साथ? ठाकुर के साथ. This whole pastime of Prahlāda Nṛsiṁha Dev teaches us this one principle. There are many principles, but this is one principle. That the faster we understand that even if we are alone in this world, we have the Supreme Lord with us. If that faith is there and we do bhajan, then the Lord is ready to break pillars and come for you. And on the other hand, you can be Hiranyakashipu, where he could control the 14 planetary systems. It is described in the Harivamsha Puran, in the section of Prahlāda Nṛsiṁha story. It is described that Hiranyakashipu was so strong that he took over the whole of heaven. Indra gave up his throne. Hiranyakashipu was controlling the rising of the sun and the moon. Can you imagine? Hiranyakashipu had the power to control the rising of the sun and the moon. He was controlling the rain. He was controlling the breath, the air. He was controlling the water content. So Agni, fire, Vayu, breeze, Varuna, water, Chandra, Surya, Indra, everybody surrendered. And they were all, Harivamsha Puran describes, they were all becoming human beings to mix with the human population and hide on earth. Can you imagine? This is truth. Shruti Shastra Nindanam. Please never think this is some Atishayokti. This is some over exaggeration. It is a Nama Aparad to not have faith in Shastra. So Shastra, Harivamsha Puran says, demigods were so afraid of Hiranyakashipu that they would become human beings. Now, when will a demigod become a human being actually? According to Bhagavad Gita, Tetam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam kshine punya martyalokam vishanti evam trayi dharma manuprapanna gata gatam kama kama labhante. Traividyamam somapa puta papa yajnai rishtva swargatim prarthayante te punyam asadya surendra lokam ashnanti divyan divideva bhogan tetam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam kshine punya martyalokam vishanti. Bhagavad Gita describes only someone who has developed a lot of piety, lot of punya. They become someone like Devraj Indra. They become Indra, Chandra, Agni, ityadi. And when their account balance comes to zero, Kshine punya martya lokam vishanti. When all their credit is over, they fall as human beings on earth. And they don't like to fall as human beings. But in fear of Hiranyakashipu, voluntarily they were falling and becoming human beings and hiding in human forms and walking through human population just to hide themselves. Taki bach jaye. This is how horrifyingly terrifying Hiranyakashipu was. And he had all the boons possible. Think about it. On one hand, you have a 5-year-old Prahlāda who has no army, who doesn't know how to use weapons, who has not even learnt Vyakarana till now. So he has not gone through any systematic study of Shastra. He has not developed any skill sets, any talents and ability. He has not done any austerity. He has not lived like Hiranyakashipu standing on the tip of his nails. Look at the contrast. Prahlāda Maharaj is only 5 years old. Hiranyakashipu is much older. Prahlāda Maharaj doesn't control anybody. His teachers chastise him. And Hiranyakashipu can control even up to Brahma. Everybody. They're all resigning. He's eating up the Brahmanas. He's setting things on fire. Killing the cows. Destroying yajnas. It is described, stool and urine were thrown into the yajnas so that the Brahmanas fail in their duty. And when they fail in their duty, they would feel disappointed. Then they would feel that their offerings is not reaching Vishnu. Hiranyakashipu, his plan was, I want to kill Vishnu because Vishnu has killed my brother as Varaha. Varaha killed Hiranyaksha. So Hiranyakashipu now wanted to take on Vishnu. And he said, the way I can kill Vishnu is in a fight. But Vishnu is so smart, he is hiding. और छिप छिप के यज्ञ के कुंड से खाते हैं। अर्थात जो भी यहाँ ब्राह्मण आहुति देते हैं वहां से विष्णु खाते हैं और इससे रुष्ट पुष्ट होते हैं और फिर छिप जाते हैं। Look at Hiranyakashipu's thought process. He is thinking Vishnu gets power to hide from the offerings that the Brahmanas put into the sacrificial kunda. So if I kill the Brahmanas and if I destroy the yajnas, then Vishnu will not get his breakfast, and then he has to come in front of me tired and hungry and sleepy, and then I will punch him and I'll destroy him. This is the classic case of मूर्खता और foolishness. ना हम प्रकाश सर्वस्व योग माया समावृता मूढ़ोयम ना भी जानाति लोको मामजम अव्ययम, as Krishna says in the Gita. He has everything with him. And look at the austerities that he performed. Without eating, without sleeping, without drinking, ant hills were formed on him. On one hand, you had an ant hill that was formed over Valmiki Muni. On the other hand, you have ant hills formed over Hiranyakashipu. And in both places, you see Brahma appeared. But the results are completely different. Valmiki was called Valmiki because ant hills were formed on him by his austerity. And Hiranyakashipu also became very effulgent by austerity, but the purpose for both were different. For Valmiki Muni, the purpose was to please the Supreme Lord, and the path taken to austerity was chanting Mara, 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 Mara. And here Hiranyakashipu was performing austerity to become the greatest. The vrat was the same, but the intentions are different, and therefore the results are completely different. Our path is not to perform austerity like sitting in under heat or sitting नंगे पाँव चलूंगा मैं, उल्टे पैर चलूंगा, ऐसा सब व्रत हम नहीं लेते हैं. जो भजन करना चाहते हैं, those who are devotees, they don't do such vrat. What vrat do they do? Tapo divyam. They take higher vrat. The highest vrat in the human form of life is not one moment I will waste. Whatever has happened till now, forget it. But from today, I take a vrat that I will never waste time. I will chant. मन लगे ना लगे, अच्छा लगे ना लगे, समय मिले ना मिले, अर्थ जाने ना जाने. Whether I understand or I don't, whether my mind is there or no, whether I pronounce properly or no, Krishna, I promise I am not going to leave your holy name. Imagine if somebody is constantly calling us, phone karte hi rehte hain, hum uthate nahi unka phone, just let's say. And if somebody is doing that for 10 years, imagine. कभी तो हृदय पिघलेगा ना, कभी तो. वो तो ठाकुर जी हैं. He is करुणा सिंधु. If we keep calling him, even if we have no qualification, even if we are utterly disqualified, रट रहे नाम आपका, we are just repeating your holy name. Why won't his heart melt? On one hand, you have Prahlāda Maharaj, who had no, materially speaking, compared to Hiranyakashipu, no past history of austerity. Absolutely nothing. वो तो तलवार चलाना भी नहीं जानते थे. If Hiranyakashipu comes with a sword, Prahlāda cannot even lift a sword. The swords are way more heavier than his ability. He doesn't know how to use them. And whatever is taught in school, मन नहीं लगता. वो कुछ भी सिखाते हैं वहां पे. ये शत्रु है, ये मित्र है. This is our friend, that is our enemy. And here is Prahlāda Maharaj seeing Krishna in the heart of every living entity. Where is the enemy? There is no enemy. Absolutely no enemy. When Arjuna was thinking, take me between the two armies, let me see where my friends are and let me see where my enemies are, that is when he had to cry. That is where he fell on the knees and the bow was slipping from the hand and mind was reeling and throat was choking and he was sweating. Because when there is vision that this is my friend and this is my enemy, one has to cry. One has to cry. When there are material desires, those who fulfill those material desires are our friends. And those who obstruct those material desires are our enemies. If material desires are fulfilled, then we are happy. And those who fulfill that, we want to keep them close to us. Now, if those same people in the future give us some advice by which our future material desires are stopped, then they become our enemies. So material desires create enemies and friends in this world. But for Prahlāda Maharaj, there are no material desires, only one desire, to get the Lord of our life. So there is nobody who can stop him from getting that. And there is nobody who will be over friendly. So everybody is equal. But on the other hand, Hiranyakashipu was completely materialistic. His false ego was so deep. I don't want to die inside the house. I don't want to die outside the house. I don't want to die in the sky. I don't want to die on the floor, on the ground. I don't want to be killed by a human. I don't want to be killed by animals. I don't want to be killed during the day. I don't want to be killed during the night. Not by hands, not by weapons. So many rules. What does that mean? It means neither inside the house nor outside the house are our anarthas destroyed. Our ego, our false ego cannot be destroyed inside our house. It cannot be destroyed outside our house. It cannot be destroyed in the sky. We can go on airplanes, longest air flight. Still, false ego is not destroyed. We can go scuba diving. Scuba diving बोलते हैं ना, उसको पानी में जाते हैं, उसको क्या कहते हैं? मैं नहीं जानता. कुछ तो कहते हैं. जो भी है, आप जाने, मैं नहीं जानता ये सब. So when you jump into water for swimming or whatever entertainment, so false ego is still there. We cannot be destroyed. Neither can be destroyed during the day or at night. It cannot be destroyed in the presence of pets or in the presence of humans. You can perform as much surgery, open heart surgery, bypass surgery. Still anarthas are not removed. Hiranyakashipu is representing that. And on the other hand, Prahlāda Maharaj is representing, you can live in the womb and hear the words of your spiritual master and come out completely self-realized. Connection to Sri Guru is most important. Let's give a simple example. Lotus flower. What is the connection of the lotus flower with the sun? What happens? Does the sun nourish the lotus or does the sun burn the lotus? Think and tell me.
Nourish.
Nourish. Provided? Provided the lotus is in the water pond. If the lotus is in water, then the sun rays will nourish the lotus. If the lotus is outside the water pond, if it is removed from that, then it gets completely burnt and withered, closes away. Those same rays of the sun which are opening the lotus will close the lotus if it is not connected to the water pond. Agreed? We are all like lotuses. And Krishna is the sun. His energy, his strength is the sun rays. If we are connected to Guru Tattva, which is the water pond, then the rays of Krishna's opulence will only nourish our heart and attract our heart towards him. But if we are like Hiranyakashipu, like a lotus flower without the water pond of Guru's grace, then the rays of the same sun Vishnu, they wither the ability of the lotus. And the lotus thinks the sun is actually his enemy. But actually, the sun is the greatest friend of the lotus. And to understand this, the lotus must have the shelter of the water pond, which Prahlāda lotus had in the water pond called Narada, which Hiranyakashipu lotus did not have because he was away from the water pond. Quite fascinating, isn't it? One has the mercy of Sri Guru, the other doesn't. And as a result, the same Hari, who is our ever well-wishing best friend, which Prahlāda is trying to teach, Hiranyakashipu is convinced that he is his greatest enemy. Quite interesting. Another example, kitchen example. Let's say you're cooking something. Let's say anything for that matter. Will you just throw it into the fire? ऐसे स्टोव में बिना कोई बर्तन, बिना कोई कुकर, बिना कोई बर्तन के will anybody throw? Fools like me can. So I know what not to do because I don't know cooking. So will somebody just throw it into the fire? No, then it will be burnt. So what's the way? You take a pot and you start cooking. You use a pot, you use a cooker or you use a cooking vessel and you put things inside. Now when you cook, what is happening? Things inside are getting cooked. But does the pot ever cook? Does the pot ever get cooked? No. The pot is as it is, but the things inside get cooked very well. And in this process, sometimes you can see the pot becomes little black also. It doesn't get cooked, but in the process of cooking something else, it gets black. This is the point. We are all like those grains, and Krishna is the fire. We can't touch fire directly and get cooked on the path of bhakti. We'll be burnt by Krishna's energy, by Krishna's opulence, by Krishna's strength. So we need a cooking vessel that is called Guru Tattva. Guru Tattva himself doesn't get burnt directly in touch with fire, but is ready to give shelter to those grains and letting them cook on the path of bhakti. And in this process, sometimes that cooking pot becomes black, taking the sins of the disciple. But he still is eternally ready to do this service, only to cook those grains in the form of disciples. Look at Prahlāda Maharaj. By the mercy of Narada Muni, he attained the Supreme Lord. And how much personal association did he have of Narada Muni? Sometimes that is also one concern that we always express. I need personal association. I need constant touch with my Guru Maharaj. Yes, that has its place too. But if you see the life of Prahlāda Maharaj, he had connection with Narad Muni in the womb. He didn't have a pranam mantra of Narad Muni. He didn't have even a photo of Narad Muni. No picture of Narad Muni. There was no screen, no printout, no laminated copy, nothing. Just hearing attentively the words of Narad Muni transformed. This is why you can see in the 7th canto, chapter 5 is where he gives instruction to Hiranyakashipu. Chapter 6 is where he gives instruction to his friends. And chapter 7, the friends ask, you are of the same age as us. How is it that you are speaking all this? Who taught you? You and I have the same teacher, Shanda and Amarka, the Asuraputra, the sons of the Asuras. They're asking, how is it that, oh Prahlāda, you and I are of the same age and we have the same teacher under the same Gurukul. This is the Gurukul of Shukracharya and the teachers are Shanda and Amarka. We attend the same classes, but how is it that you know all this? So chapter 7, after chapter 6, where Prahlāda speaks to his friends, chapter 7 is what he learnt in the womb. And he shares all that to his friends. It is important for the disciple to hear the words of the spiritual master very attentively. Countless places, Srila Prabhupada in the purport. At least 10 places I myself have seen in the purports of Srila Prabhupada, where Prabhupada says success in Krishna consciousness is to the ability of the disciple hearing the words of the spiritual master and repeating it without an ulterior agenda. So Srila Prabhupada said, my only glory, he would always say, my only glory is I have heard from the lips of my Guru Maharaj and I am repeating what I have heard without any personal gain. And another time Prabhupada would say, I did Shravanam, so now I can do Kirtanam. Like this. Path of Hari Katha is not the path of fame. Not at all. Path of Hari Katha is not to get followers. It is not to show the audience how much we know. Path of Hari Katha is not about, okay, now you look what I'm going to say. That's not the path of Hari Katha. If one wants to impress the audience, then it will go from the lips of the speaker to the ear of the audience. The audience will clap and that's all they and we get. That's all. Clap. Kya fayda us clap ka? Let us be good businessmen. Na? Anyway, we are investing time. Why not look for the best profit? Best profit. The best profit is eternal profit. If we impress the audience will forget. They will clap and forget. And what will happen? Most will envy us. And those who like us, most of them will not follow it because we ourselves are not following. So there is no power in those words. And in the process of this, our false ego is increased and our human time is lost and we are going farther away from Krishna. So everybody is losing in this whole process. On the other hand, if Hari Katha is spoken with the simple agenda that, my Lord, I want to please you. Whatever I have heard from the lips of my Guru Maharaj, I want to repeat for my purification. If this is the desire, then Krishna is pleased. And when Krishna is pleased, he sitting as Paramatma in the heart of the listener, he will give Shakti to the listener to transform their lives. And he will purify the speaker. And in this way, there is eternal credit for the speaker and the listener. Krishna should be our audience, not people around. One very great sadhu in Vrindavan, this is at least 50 years ago, when he would speak Hari Katha, he would have Bal Gopal. Now, please, my request is those who are listening this, please don't imitate. This is a very great Acharya. So he would have a Bal Gopal with him and he was a speaker of Hari Katha. So he would keep Bal Gopal in front of him and he would look at Bal Gopal and speak for 3 hours. He would not look at anybody. He would have Bhagavatam and he would have his Bal Gopal and he would read the verse and explain and read the verse and explain and just go on from verse to verse to verse to verse. And Bal Gopal is the audience. And if anybody comes, they leave, they sit, they like, they don't like, doesn't matter. All his life he spoke like this. So Prahlāda Maharaj was like this. He heard from Narada Muni in the womb, from the womb of his mother, Kayadu. Narada Muni didn't have any other connection apart from Guru Vani. Vilasatu Ridhi Nityam Bhakti Siddhanta Vani. One godbrother of Srila Prabhupada, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he wrote a pranam mantra where he says, may the instructions of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur eternally dance in the courtyard of my heart. So it is the duty of the disciple to hear the words of the spiritual master, remember the instructions, memorize them, follow them, and speak what one has heard from one's Guru Pada Padma. This is the process. This is the process of self-realization. And because Prahlāda Maharaj did, he was connected to the water pond of Guru Nishtha, and he was repeating, he was giving being a lotus, quite fascinating. Being a lotus, he was surrounded by the mud of the Asuric dynasty. Being a lotus, he was connected to the water pond of Guru Nishtha, of Narad Muni's instructions. Being a lotus, he was emanating the fragrance of his bhakti. And attracted to that fragrance were bumblebee like his classmates coming, humming, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. That was the humming of the bumblebee like classmates. Now you will tell me, oh, you're from ISKCON, therefore you're saying Prahlāda Maharaj chanted the name of Krishna. He was actually Vishnu Bhakta, right? Actually, Bhagavatam says he was chanting the name of Krishna. Where? While speaking to Hiranyakashipu, Prahlāda Maharaj says, Matinna Krishne parato svatova. He says, Krishna mein mati nahi lagegi. Agar indriya yahan wahan bhag rahi hai to. He tells his father that if the senses are running in all directions, the mind will not be at the lotus feet of Krishna. So Krishna avatar took place in Dwapar Yuga. Prahlāda Maharaj's Leela is in Satya Yuga. So this proves that Krishna is not a normal personality. Imagine Prahlāda Maharaj in Satya Yuga is remembering Krishna's appearance millions of years ago. Quite fascinating. Quite astonishing. Krishna appeared in Dwapar Yuga and Prahlāda Maharaj in Satya Yuga is invoking Krishna. And that's not the only reference. You can see Ambarish Maharaj, another classic Satya Yuga example. And Shukadev Goswami says that our Ambarish Maharaj was so absorbed that Savai Mana Krishna Padar Vindayo Vachamsi Vaikuntha Gunanuvarnanam, that all his senses were absorbed in the service of Krishna. Again in Satya Yuga. Although the chakra came from Vishnu, Ambarish Maharaj was worshipping Krishna. Hete Chamsa Kalapum Sam Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Quite fascinating, quite astonishing. In the 7th canto Srimad Bhagavatam, as Prahlāda Maharaj preaches to his classmates, now Shanda and Amarka go crazy. That first of all, this boy, he, instead of aligning to his father and listening to our teachings, he is attending class. When we ask him, do you understand? He says, I understand. But then he continues to practice something else. And now he's preaching also. So we will read few verses, all of us together. With this as the introduction, I'll go a few more minutes into the class today, more than the time because today is festival. So I request all of you to turn to the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. We will read from the first verse of the 8th chapter. That's the chapter on the appearance of Nṛsiṁha. It's a long chapter. We will not cover the whole chapter, but at least a few verses into that chapter. Chapter 8 of 7th canto, Lord Nṛsiṁha slays the king of demons.
Is it okay if I can share the screen?
Sure, Mataji. No problem. No problem. So, this canto is so dear, not just to Srila Prabhupada, but even Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. It is described that with Gadadhar Pandit, who is Radharani herself, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's Krishna, would discuss at Tota Gopinath, Saptam Skand, 7th canto. So today, let's read a few verses. Yeah. So, Shri Narada Uvacha, Atha Daitya Suta Sarve Shrutva Tad Anuvarnitam Jagruhu Niravadhyatvan Naiva Guru Anushikshitam. So, Shri Narada Uvacha, how come Narada Muni came into this whole scene? We may think in the pastime of Prahlāda Nṛsiṁha, how come Shri Narada Uvacha? Typically, it is Shri Shuka Uvacha. Well, the point to be understood is this whole pastime is being narrated by Narada Muni to Yudhishthir Maharaj at the Rajasuya Yajna. Rajasuya Yajna was conducted by Yudhishthir Maharaj, and it can be led by only a king who has won over all directions. All other kings should have surrendered. Only then to that king is he qualified to perform the Rajasuya Yajna. So Yudhishthir Maharaj, after winning all the kings, he performed the Rajasuya Yajna. And in that Rajasuya Yajna, Yudhishthir Maharaj asked a question. Quite an interesting question. He asked the question that, doesn't the Lord always take sides with the demigods against the demons? Then how do we understand that he is Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu? He is equal to everyone. To which Narada Muni, he said, actually, when Sattva Gun is predominating, like morning time, naturally it is time for the demigods. And when Rajogun is predominating during the day, that's the time for the demons. And when night time comes in, which is Tamogun, Pravritti Pradhan, then the Bhuta, Preta, Pishacha, the ghosts, the negative forces, they are all active. So Narada Muni said, depending on what gun is prevalent, if the fight takes place, accordingly that party will win. If Tamogun is prevalent or Rajogun is prevalent, then you can see that the demons will win the battle. And when Sattva Gun as time is prevalent, then you will see that the demigods win the battle. So Yudhishthir Maharaj was not very convinced with this answer. So he said, but I've always seen that the Lord appears on the back of Garuda to help the demigods. I have never seen Lord coming on the back of Garuda to help the demons. So Narada Muni said, well, he comes many times even to help the demons, but it's just that he is not seen. When he comes to help the demigods, he's seen. So Yudhishthir Maharaj was thinking, how is this possible? So the example can be given. Let's say if you have mercury, and if you have mercury in a plain tube, transparent tube, then you can see mercury as it is. But if you put mercury in a colored, tainted tube, then mercury is there, but you can't see. So similarly, Krishna is there even with the demons, but because their consciousness is colored with Rajogun and Tamogun, you can see Krishna's presence in the assembly where Rajogun is prominent, Rajas is prominent. But because the demigods are like a plain tube and the whole assembly is sattvic, Krishna appears in the sattvic environment and manifests externally on the back of Garuda, and he's seen. So Yudhishthir Maharaj said, but then are there examples where the Lord takes sides even with a demon who is in Sattva Gun? Is it possible? Let's say someone like Vibhishan. He's in a demoniac family, but he's in Sattva Gun. On the other hand, you can have someone like Manthara, who is in Sattva Gun family, but actually in Tamogun or Rajogun. So Yudhishthir Maharaj's question is it possible for the Lord to take sides with someone who is in Sattva Gun, but in a demoniac family? Narada Muni said, yes. I will tell you the history of Prahlāda. And in that context, what Narada Muni told Yudhishthir Maharaj, it was relayed back in time by Shukadev Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj. Now the question is, how did Shukadev Goswami get to know what Narada Muni told Yudhishthir Maharaj? In that Rajasuya Yajna, according to the Puranas, it is described, Krishna was present with all his queens. Many great sages were present. Shukadev Goswami, Vyasadev, Parashara Muni were also present, and they heard it real time. Imagine Krishna is sitting in the Rajasuya sacrifice of Yudhishthir Maharaj and listening about Prahlāda Maharaj and Nṛsiṁha Dev from Narada Muni. Quite astonishing. Krishna listens to Prahlāda Maharaj's katha. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu listens to Prahlāda Maharaj's katha, and I'm pretty confident Sri Ramachandra in Treta Yuga also would have heard to Prahlāda Maharaj in Satya Yuga. How great a Vaishnava. Prahlāda Maharaj is invoked everywhere. Even in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, where the hierarchy of devotees are given, Sanatan Goswami talks about Prahlāda Maharaj's greatness. Very great Vaishnava. Very, very great Vaishnava. And who glorifies Prahlāda Maharaj in Brihad Bhagavatamrita? Lord Shiva. Shankar Bhagavan is speaking about Prahlāda Maharaj, saying that Bhakt ho to Prahlād ki tarah, varna na ho. And then Prahlāda Maharaj, when he is approached, Prahlāda Maharaj says, Hum to bhakti nahi hai, I am not even a devotee. Acha, aap bhakt kyun nahi hai? Why you are not a devotee? Oh, the Lord came to my own home and I didn't even offer him water. He had to drink my father's blood. He said, Meri burai hai. He is taking the blame on his head. In his humility, he is saying, the Lord drank my father's blood because I didn't offer him water. I should have offered him garland welcoming the Lord when he came to my home. I forgot to offer a garland, so he garlanded himself with the intestines of my father. I didn't even tell him, asanam, swagatam, swagatam, suswagatam, idam asanam. Please take this asan. So he just went around. He didn't know where to go. He took my father's body, went between the doorstep. He was roaring, running around, and then finally he came and sat on the throne of my father. Say, what kind of devotee am I? Even when great devotees are invoked, Prahlāda, Narada, Parashara, Pundarika, Vyasambharisha, Shukha, Shaunaka, Bhishma, Dalbhyam. In order of great Vaishnavas, Prahlāda Maharaj's name comes first. And who can suffer like this? 5-year-old. Not once he ever complains. हम तो छोटी छोटी बात पे ईमेल लिख देते हैं. क्यों? माताएं और प्रभु जी सही है ना? छोटी छोटी बात पे कॉल कर लेते हैं. We call, we send messages, email, voice messages. Something happens and immediately एक response होता है. Now I will give back. And here is Prahlāda Maharaj. Not one verse where he's criticizing his father. Not one verse where he's asking Krishna, आप हो कि नहीं, इतना नाम भजन कर रहा हूं, क्या कहाँ बैठे हैं आप? भूल गए कि क्या? आ जाओ. कहाँ बैठे हैं? भूल गए मुझे? कभी नहीं. No doubt about the presence of the Supreme Lord, no lack of faith, no critical thinking about his father, nothing. However Krishna keeps me, I am happy. This type of bhajan is unbelievable. It is so unbelievable that in Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 12 cantos, and of course the 10th canto is the longest, Krishna Leela, where so many pastimes of Krishna are described. But after that, if you check, the 7th canto, the whole canto is dedicated to only one devotee, and that is Prahlāda Maharaj. You can see 10th canto. So other cantos, in one canto, multiple devotees are described. Like you can see in the 4th canto, Dhruva Maharaj gets 3-4 chapters. But then you can see also mention of Prithu Maharaj, and so many other sections are there in the, and Narad Muni is also there in the 1st canto, in the 4th canto, ityadi. 5th canto, you can find Jada Bharat, Rishabdev Maharaj. All are mentioned. 6th canto also you can see. Vritrasura is described. 8th canto, Gajendra. But again, Gajendra gets only 3-4 chapters. But one whole canto, as much as Krishna gets one whole canto for himself, Shukadev Goswami gives 7th canto completely to one 5-year-old boy. That is Prahlāda Maharaj. How great. So great that Narad Muni, who is the guru whose instructions Prahlāda heard in the womb, now Guru is speaking the glories of his disciple at the Rajasuya Yajna in the presence of Sri Hari. Imagine. Narad Muni is speaking. Narad Muni's disciple is Vyasadeva also. Narad Muni's disciple is Valmiki Muni also. Narad Muni's disciple is Dhruva Maharaj also. Narad Muni's disciple is Mrigari and Manigriv, Nalakuver, everybody. Where they all get the mercy at least. Manigriv, Nalakuver at least got the mercy of Narad Muni, if not Diksha. But you will not find a reference where Narad Muni is sitting and spending one whole canto speaking about the glory of his disciple. कहीं भी आपने सुना है गुरु बैठकर अपने शिष्य का गुणगान ठाकुर के सामने कर रहे हैं इतने विस्तार में? How great! Prahlāda Maharaj's glory we cannot even fathom. So therefore, the first phrase itself is Shri Narada Uvacha. 781. Narad Muni spoke. Acha, what did he speak? Atha daitya suta sarve. Sarve mane sab. All the daitya sutas, all the sons of the daityas, shrutva, they heard. What did they hear? Tad anuvarnitam. Niravadyatvat. They heard the pure teachings of Prahlāda Maharaj. And Prahlāda Maharaj repeated those teachings, anuvarnitam, very wonderfully. Anu has many meanings. Anu means repeatedly. Is it possible, Mataji, if we can maybe zoom into the verse? So devotees will be able to see the verse very nicely. In English, we can keep so everybody will be able to read.
Sure.
And we can zoom in. Yeah. These verses of Srimad Bhagavatam are Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam. So, Anuvarnitam. So, Niravadyatvat means pure teachings, very pure, pristine teachings of Prahlāda Maharaj. Anuvarnitam. Anu means repeatedly. Anu also means Anukulya Bhavena, very favorable. Anu also means with Anurag, with love. So, Prahlāda Maharaj's teachings, which were coming down tradition, which were filled with love, which was worth repeating. Daitya Sutaha, all the sons of the demons, Sarve, everyone, no exception, everyone, Shrutva, they all heard. And what did they do? Jagruhu, they all immediately accepted. But interestingly, Shukdev Goswami says, or Narad Muni here says, Na eva guru anushikshitam. Here also the word anu has come. Repeatedly the Guru, Shanda and Amarka taught politics, sociology, economics, warfare. But naiva, na eva. Naiva माने नहीं ही सुने. जैसे हिंदी में कहते हैं सुने ही नहीं. That is na eva, naiva. What Shanda and Amarka Shikshitam taught, Anushikshitam repeatedly, the children, their heart was not attracted to it. However, what Niravadyatvat, what Prahlāda Maharaj taught, pure teachings, Sarve Jagruhu, they immediately took it up. Srila Prabhupada's purport, if a devotee is qualified, now look at this, fantastic. I'm just going to read one line in this purport. Srila Prabhupada says, if a devotee is qualified, sincere and serious about Krishna consciousness, and if he follows the instructions of the bona fide spiritual master, as Prahlāda Maharaj did, when preaching the instructions he had received from Narad Muni, his preaching will be effective. Prabhupada gives what is effective preaching. See, we can read that line. If a devotee is qualified, sincere and serious about Krishna consciousness, and if he follows the instructions of the bona fide spiritual master, as Prahlāda Maharaj did while preaching the instructions he had received from Narad Muni, then the preaching is effective. Let's see what happens next. Atha acharya sutas tesham buddhim ekanta samsthitam alakshya bhita stvarito rajnya avedayat yatha. So now you can see that Shanda and Amarka, they both became scared seeing the preaching of Prahlāda Maharaj. Alakshya mane dekkar. Bhita mane bhaybit hona. So Shanda and Amarka, they saw the teachings and the preaching of Prahlāda Maharaj and they got scared. Now it's fascinating how Shanda and Amarka are called as Acharya Sutta. Acharya Sutta means sons of Shukracharya. Why they are called sons of Shukracharya? Because there is a specific mood there. The mood is when Shanda and Amarka were called by Hiranyakashipu to the court and said, why you're teaching Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam to my son? So Shanda and Amarka said, Sarkar, humne kuch nahi sikhaya. We have not taught your son anything which is against your wish. We have taught him only one thing. We have only taught him how to chant your holy names. Jai Hiranyakashipu. Jai Hiranyakashipu. That's all that we have taught. But this boy doesn't listen. So then Hiranyakashipu said, oh, then that means some Vaishnavas have come and infiltrated into our Gurukul. So Shanda and Amarka said, it's possible, but he's only 5 years old. We will try teaching him again. Hiranyakashipu removed his sword and showed Shanda and Amarka. Next time you fail, this sword will be on your neck. So Shanda and Amarka said, oh dear master, oh Hiranyakashipu, please give us one more chance. We promise this boy will be fixed. You know why? Because very soon our father Shukracharya is coming and he is expert in dealing with such situations. So let Shukracharya come and take over Prahlad, you will never have a problem. Now the interesting thing is, even Shukracharya failed. Shukracharya also, after coming, Prahlad Maharaj heard his instructions, but Prahlad Maharaj was very determined. Buddhim ekanta samsthitam. Bhagavatam describes all the children, Tesham, all the boys, the friends of Prahlad Maharaj, Buddhim ekanta samsthitam. Their intelligence became one-pointed. Eka anta. Eka anta mane? One-pointed. Just like there's a arrow or a spear, the end is eka anta. There is a sharp end. So buddhi became like a sharp, focused focal point. Samsthitam. It was situated at the lotus feet of Sri Hari. So yahan Narad Muni vyang kar rahe hain. Which means he's joking that Acharya ke dono putra bhaybheet ho gaye. Which means the two sons of Shukracharya, they got scared because they were the ones who were so confident. Once our father comes, Shukracharya comes, Prahlad will become an asura. He will start saying Jai Hiranyakashipu. Narad Muni is laughing that even Shukracharya and Shukracharya's Sutta, both children, they could not transform the heart of Prahlad. Narad Muni is speaking with some spiritual transcendental pride because they are trying to brainwash Prahlad, but Prahlad was actually Narad Muni's disciple. So Narad Muni is saying, looking at this, what happened? Alakshya bhitah. Shanda and Amarka became very scared. And Twarita, very quickly, Rajne, they went to the king. And Avedayat means Nyavedayat. They started speaking their vyatha. They started speaking the story. They, okay, some Hiranyakashipu there.
Prabhu, who is writing? Somebody is writing on my screen. I don't know.
Okay. Anybody who's writing?
I will stop the annotate. Sorry, Prabhuji. Please
Yeah,
forgive.
no problem. No problem. Somebody who's writing, my request to the parents would be, please get them a notebook so that they can write at home and not on Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. So next verse, we can see Hiranyakashipu's take on this whole scene. When Hiranyakashipu gets to know that Prahlad Maharaj is going against Vishnu, Prahlad Maharaj is chanting the name of Vishnu, ignoring what is taught at school, and actually preaching. And not just preaching, successfully succeeding in that preaching. The friends also become Vishnu Bhaktas. Now look what is happening. Kopa avesha chalad gatra putram hantum mano dadhe chiptva Parushaya vacha Prahlādam atad arhanam ahe kshamana papena tiraschinena chakshusha prashraya vanatam dantam baddhanjalim avasthitam sarpapada hata iva shwasan prakriti daruna. So in verse 3 and 4, Kopa avesh means Krodha avesh. Our Hiranyakashipu Maharaj was completely filled with anger. And Chalad Gatra, his body started moving and trembling because of anger. Prahlad Maharaj's body was also trembling, but that was Krishna Graha Grihitatma, because his body was haunted by a ghost called Krishna Bhakti. Bhagavatam describes. So when there is a ghost which takes on, then the body is out of control. So both Prahlad Maharaj and Hiranyakashipu were both haunted by ghosts. But Prahlad Maharaj was haunted by a very cute ghost called Krishna. I remember in my childhood, there was of course, I have not seen, but my friends in school used to talk about a ghost movie, a little, I think, cute baby ghost called Casper. And so it was not a ghost, but it used to get scared of ghosts or something like that. So Prahlad Maharaj was haunted by a very cute ghost called Krishna. And Hiranyakashipu was haunted by Maya. And both bodies were trembling. But Prahlad Maharaj's body was trembling in ecstatic love. It was Sattvic Bhav. And Hiranyakashipu's body was trembling in Rajasic Bhav because of anger. So Kop Avesh, because of being haunted by anger, Chalat Gatra, his body started moving. And what was his mind at? Hiranyakashipu's mind was fixed at the point that Putram Hantum Mano Dadhe. Man Dadhe. he fixed his mind at only one determined desire, putra hantum. I want to kill my son. And kshiptva parushaya vacha, he was murmuring bad words, very ugly words, that I will kill you now, I'll show you. Hum bhi dikhate hain, hum kisi se kam nahi, as people talk. All these rajasic words is what Hiranyakashipu was spitting through his mouth. And Prahlādam atad arhanam, instead of worshipping Prahlād, he was actually abusing and criticizing and actually offending Prahlād Maharaj. And ahekshamana papena tirashchinena chakshusha, it is described that he called Prahlād Maharaj close to him. When Prahlād Maharaj's complaint went through his parents, through his teachers, Hiranyakashipu called him close. And tirashchinena, mane tirchi nazar se. So when someone is angry, they don't even look straight. They will look somewhere else and talk. And then from the corner of their eye, they will look. So when you see around, please remember Srimad Bhagavatam. The good example should remind us of Prahlād Maharaj. And the bad examples around should remind us of Hiranyakashipu, who teaches us how not to be. So ahekshamana tirashchinena, he started looking at Prahlād, not looking straight, but actually looking from the corner of his eye with a lot of anger. Narad Muni says, papena chakshusha. Actually, the word is krodhena. Krodh ke karan, aise dekh rahe the. But Narad Muni uses the word papena, because of papa, which means when anger comes, that is considered to be sinful. Body becomes sinful when we get angry. Because instead of saying ahekshamana krodena or kopena, which because of anger, Narad uses the word papena, which means pap and krodh are synonymous. On the other hand, look at how Prahlād Maharaj was. Prashraya avanatam dantam baddhanjalim avasthitam. Baddhanjali avasthitam. Avasthitam means he was standing in front of. So when we hear and read Srimad Bhagavatam, in the courtroom of our heart, we should see what's happening. So on one hand, Hiranyakashipu with his dancing, frowning eyebrows is shooting fire flames of anger. And on the other hand, baddhanjalim avasthitam. 5-year-old Prahlād, baddha anjali. Anjali mane palms. Baddha. Folding his palms, he's standing there, avasthitam. And how is he standing? Dantam. Completely obedient. Completely sense-controlled. And prashraya avanatam. Namrata se sir jhuka rahe the. He was bowing his head. And again he was offering obeisances to his father. And he was so obedient. He was smiling. And with folded palms, he was looking at his father. And this was making Hiranyakashipu even more angry. If Prahlād would have gotten angry and tried to give back, then Hiranyakashipu would have felt, chalo, he has some of my qualities. Look, the fruit has to fall close to the tree. But here he's behaving like Vishnu. Seems like I am like Bhrigu and I'm shouting at him, kicking the chest like Bhrigu did. And like Vishnu, he's standing there smiling, which means he's taking more qualities from my enemy than me. And that was making Hiranyakashipu even more angrier. And therefore, the example given is Sarpa. Pada ahata iva shwasan prakriti daruna. Shwasan mane shwas lena. Hiranyakashipu was breathing heavily like the hissing of a snake. He was almost ready to punch his son. And prakriti daruna. Yudhishthir Maharaj is thinking, why is he making such a big mountain of a molehill? So Narad Muni says prakriti daruna. Daruna mane evil, cruel. Prakriti. Kaiyon ki prakriti aisi hoti hai. Because of past life, some people behave, their natural state is like that. And he is like a serpent, but especially not a sarpa. Sarpa pada ahata. Serpents by default, they are hissing and they have poison in their fangs. But now you go and kick a serpent, pada ahata. Ahat mane to hurt. And pad mane charano se. So by feet, if somebody touches or kicks a snake, imagine how the hood of the snake will come up. The innocent words of Prahlād Maharaj, which were filled with truth, were unfortunately taken by Hiranyakashipu, who was like a serpent, to be kicks on his face. So as a result, he became very angry. Now, another interesting point that Srila Prabhupada makes in this purport, and I'll read this. Srila Prabhupada says, and this is something to be highlighted. All of us can Actually, this could be an example. See, this is Srimad Bhagavatam. So the purports are there, and some take homes we can always highlight. So even when we are reading, it will always stick with us. So this line is worth highlighting. Srila Prabhupada says, I read and I quote, when one is impudent, which means arrogant, towards a highly authorized devotee, mane Vaishnava aparadh karna, one is punished by the laws of nature. Bhakt prati aparadh kar karahi, Ram rosh pavak so jarahi. It is described that if someone offends Krishna, Krishna will forgive. But if someone offends the devotee, Krishna will never forgive. Bhaktai bhakta janapriya. Even if someone offends the devotee of a devotee, Krishna will not forgive. Srila Prabhupada says the duration of his life is diminished and he loses the blessings of superior persons and the result of pious activities by criticizing Vaishnavas. And look at the phenomenal verse that Srila Prabhupada quotes there in that context. We can scroll down, Mataji, a little bit. Prabhupada says, Ayu Shriyam Yasho Dharmam Lokan Ashisha Evacha Hanti Shreyamshi Sarvani Pumso Mahad Atikrama. When one mistreats great souls, his lifespan, opulence, reputation, religion, possessions, good fortune are all destroyed. 10.4.46 Bhagavatam. The context is Kamsa ill-treating Devaki and Vasudev. So Prabhupada invokes that here. On the other hand, what happens when someone serves great Vaishnavas? The Subhashita describes that when someone serves senior Vaishnavas or anyone older in age, Abhivadana Shilasya Nitya Vriddhopasevinaha Chatvari Tasya Vardhante Ayu Vidya Yasho Balam. If someone bows down and touches the feet of seniors, senior in age, some are Vayo Vriddha, senior in age, some are Jnana Vriddha, senior in knowledge, some are Seva Vriddha, more experienced in service. So by serving them, Chatvari Vardhante, 4 things increase. Ayu, Vidya, Yasha, Balam. Our lifespan increases, spiritual knowledge increases, fame increases, and Bala, spiritual strength increase. Now look at the fun here. Hiranyakashipu is digging his own grave. Verse 5. Shri Hiranyakashipu Ruvacha. ये अद्भुत श्लोक है अभी 5वां श्लोक. Look at the greatness of Narad Muni. Narad Muni doesn't say Hiranyakashipu Uvacha. He says Shri Hiranyakashipu Uvacha. Shri शब्द प्रयोग है. अयोग्य व्यक्ति को भी योग्य सम्मान देना, ये हमारा धर्म है. This one line we should write in gold in the walls of our heart. अयोग्य व्यक्ति को भी योग्य सम्मान देना चाहिए. Even if someone ill treats us, shouts at us, someone is completely unqualified, still we bow down to them, if not in person, at least in the heart, understanding that Krishna lives in their heart. So Narad Muni is not forgetting that Hiranyakashipu is actually Jaya and Vijay in his past life. He's actually an associate of Mahavishnu. He's closely associated to Prahlāda Maharaj. And very soon, the Lord is going to come to touch his body. So he's already purified. Shri Hiranyakashipu Ruvacha. What does he say? Prahlāda Maharaj is standing with folded palms looking at Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu is literally biting his lips in anger. And he shouts at Prahlāda for his preaching success. For being successful in his preaching. What he gets in return? Bad speech from the only person whom he lives with and he serves. That is his own father. Hiranyakashipu calls Prahlāda, He Durvinit Mandatman, Kula Bheda Karadhama, Sthabdam, Mad Shasanod Vrittam, Nyeshye Twadya Yamakshayam. Look at the adjectives that Hiranyakashipu uses. He Durvinita. Vinit mane namra, humble. Durvinita, you arrogant boy. Prahlāda Maharaj, arrogant. Mandatman. Mandatman means foolish or slow, dull-headed. First, he said, Durvinita. He said, you are arrogant. Second, Mandatman. You're slow, dull-headed, or you're foolish. Third, criticism. कुल भेद कर, अपने ही परिवार, अपने ही कुल में भेद करा रहे हो. You are causing cracks and friction in the whole family. Fourth criticism, adhama, you are most fallen. Fifth criticism, sthabdam. Sthabdam means he who doesn't change his opinion. Doesn't change his opinion. Mad shasanod vrittam, he who goes beyond the shasan. He who goes beyond the instructions of his father. And seventh, he yamakshayam, he who is a candidate for Yama, Yamaraj. So all these adjectives have been used. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur at this point comments, and he says, Saraswati Devi could not tolerate Hiranyakashipu hurling abuse at Prahlāda Maharaj. So what she did was, she transformed each word as a glorification. Each word which was actually criticism, Saraswati Devi moved it as glorification. And what did she make it as? Durvinita. Now Durvinita breaks in three ways, in three places. Dur plus V plus Nita. So V means Vishesha, and Ni means Nita, and Dur means Dur. Acha, what does that mean? Dur means Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam, this material world. And V means Vishesha Rupena, in a special way. And Nita means to bring. Oh, you who has been specially got in this world to save Dukkhalaya. Durvinita. Durvinita, actually, Hiranyakashipu intended, oh, you who is arrogant. But Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Du means Dukkhalaya. And V means Vishesha Rupena. And Nita means to bring in. So you who are so great that Vishnu got you very specially in this world to save others from this suffering mankind. Durvinita. Now second, Mandatman. Mandatman means he who is foolish. But it can also mean he who is so great that all other Atmas seem foolish in comparison to you. You are so intelligent at 5 years old that all other Atmas around, they seem to be Manda. So Mandatman. He who can make others look foolish. Because those, even at the age of 50, what they don't learn, this boy learnt in his womb. Third, Kula Bheda Kara. What does Kula Bheda Kara mean? So Kula means the family tradition, the dynasties got by the different Prajapatis like Atri Muni, Vasishtha Muni and Bhrigu Muni ityadi. They are the dynasty heads. When Srila Prabhupada heard the Darwinian theory, so Srila Prabhupada said that his grandfather would have been a monkey, but mine and our are sages. He said, Srila Prabhupada said, we didn't come from apes. Our Kula comes from Atri and Bhrigu and Vasishtha and Bharadwaja ityadi, Kashyapa Muni ityadi. So anyway, Kula refers to the Prajapati, the dynasty of the great sages like Atri Muni and Bhrigu Muni ityadi. And the reason they increase populace in this world is so that people perform Varnashram Dharma and slowly they elevate themselves and then they come to Bhakti. But what did Prahlāda Maharaj do? He didn't follow the Kula of Prajapatis. He followed only one Kula. What is that? Guru Kula. The Kula of his Guru, Narad Muni. So he caused a Kula Bheda Kara. Prahlāda Maharaj broke the tradition that was given by the different Prajapatis. They said we'll make slow advancement, but Prahlāda Maharaj, by giving pure devotional service, he broke the tradition given by the Prajapatis and he followed the tradition given by Narada Muni. So Kula Bheda Karadhama. He pushed all other traditions down by going the fast lane. Now Stabdam. Stabdam means he who doesn't bow down before anyone or doesn't change his opinion. Why was Prahlāda Maharaj called Stabda by Hiranyakashipu? Because Hiranyakashipu felt that I am teaching you so much, but you're not changing your opinion. But Prahlāda Maharaj according to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, is being glorified by Mother Saraswati, that you don't bow down before anyone. Why? Because you don't have to bow down to anyone. Everyone must bow down to you. You are so great. You are a pure Vaishnava. Why should pure Vaishnavas bow down to the Asuri Kula, the family of Asuras? They all should bow down to you, not the other way. And Hiranyakashipu says, Neshe, today, Adya, today, Neshe, I will take you where? Yamakshayam, I will take you to the house of Yamaraj. So Hiranyakashipu is saying, I will kill you, basically. But Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, the words of Hiranyakashipu, changed by Mother Saraswati, meant that, oh dear son, Prahlāda, I am actually going to go to Yamalok because of my activities. You are the only one who can help me from going there. So please come, I will take you there so that you can release me from there. Talk to Yamaraj and release me. Because Swayambhu Narada Shambhu Kumara Kapilo Manu Prahlāda Janako Bhishma Bali Vayasakhi Vayam. That Yamaraj and Prahlāda Maharaj both are Mahajans, but Hiranyakashipu is not. So Hiranyakashipu is saying, I will take you to the abode of Yamalok or Yamaraj today, to say that actually I am so sinful, I am going to go there anyway, and no one can save me, only you can save me. So please come with me and release me from there. Srila Prabhupada explains and says, thus Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has explained these words in a very interesting way, as they can be interpreted from the side of Saraswati, the mother of learning. The last line of the purport. Quite interesting. So at this point, what happens is, Kruddasya yasya kampante trayo loka saheshwara tasya me bhitavad mudha shasanam kim balotyaga. Hiranyakashipu is asking Prahlāda, Kruddasya yasya kampante, Krodh ke karan, because of anger, kampante, his whole body was trembling. And traya loka saheshwara, Hiranyakashipu, his body was trembling because of anger, but kampante, bahuvachan prayog. Who else tremble? Traya loka. The three worlds tremble. Yasya kruddasya. When Hiranyakashipu gets angry, the three worlds, the upper, middle, and lower, they all tremble. Saha Ishvara, along with all the demigods. But however, when Hiranyakashipu gets angry, the three worlds tremble with all the jivas and all the demigods. But tasya me abhitavad moodha. Hiranyakashipu is saying, और ये मूड मेरे सामने खड़ा है ऐसे हाथ जोड़कर, अभीतवत, बिना कोई भय का. तीन लोग उनके जीवों के साथ, सभी देवताओं के साथ कांपते हैं जब मैं क्रोधित होता हूं. और मेरे सामने देखो ये बेवकूफ खड़ा है, 5 साल का बच्चा, हाथ जोड़कर, अभीतवत, बिल्कुल भयभीत नहीं हो रहा. और किम बलह, कहां से ये बल आता है, कहां से है इतना बल? अत्यगा शासनम, मत शासनम. To break my rules of discipline, to break my rules of order. Where does he get so much strength from? Kim bala? Where is the bala coming from, which makes him abhaya charanara vindare, fearless? Actually, to become fearless is the first quality of a Vaishnava. In the Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna talks about divine qualities, he says, Abhaya sattva samshuddhi jnana yoga vyavasthiti danam damascha yajñascha swadhyayastapa arjavam ahimsa satyam akrodha tyaga shantirapaishunam daya bhuteshvaloluptam mardhavam hirachapalam. Krishna talks about different qualities in the 16th chapter. And the first quality Krishna says is Abhaya. One should be fearless. When can we be fearless? Param Pujyapad Srila Bhakticharu Maharaj explains. When can we be fearless? Maharaj explains, when a father takes the baby and plays with the baby, he throws the baby and catches the baby and throws the baby and catches the baby. The first time when the father does, the baby is scared because he doesn't know how far I will go up in the sky and when I come down, who will catch me? There's uncertainty. But once the father does it repeatedly, now the child laughs. And even when the father stops, the child moves his legs like, please, kind of push me and pull me and throw me into the air. The child finds it pleasurable. Why? Maharaj explains, because the child realizes the person who's throwing is the person who's going to catch. And at the same time, the child realizes that when he throws me, he will throw me only as little as I can take. Father is not going to throw the child into, the outer space. He just throws him like little bit. Only little, as little as the child can take, only so much the father will throw into the air. When these two things are there, the child finds it joyful. That only as much as I can take, my father throws me in the air. And when I come down, he's there holding me. So devotees are convinced as babies that Krishna is the one who puts me into tough situations only as much as I can take. And when I fall in those circumstances, it is Krishna alone who holds me and protects me. Then where is the fear? And when one starts enjoying it, then like Queen Kunti, they pray, Vipada Santuta Shashvat Tatra Tatra Jagat Guru Bhavato Darshanam Yatsyato Punar Bhava Darshanam. Queen Kunti is saying, let more and more calamity come in my life. Why? Because Bhavato Darshanam Yatsyata Punar Bhava Darshanam. Because when there is calamity, we see you, O Krishna. And when we see you, there is no more seeing another mother's womb. So Queen Kunti is like that baby who has seen so much struggle in life, and every time she falls in a calamity, Krishna is holding her. Srila Bhakti Charu Maharaj explained this example while explaining Vipada Santuta Shashvat. And when I heard it, it was like a new revelation. I have used this example so many times, and every time I use it, I remember Maharaj, hearing from Maharaj in that class. So, Prahlāda Maharaj is abhitavat. He has no fear. When someone trusts Krishna, then the shul, which is Trishul, also comes as fool. It comes as flowers. One has no fear. But if one doesn't trust Krishna, even the flowers, the pool in this world can come as Trishul. There will be something that will bite, something that will sting. When a child has to cross the road, if he holds the father's little finger, best, no worry, absolutely. You don't have to look to the left, don't have to look to the right. You don't have to know when you have to cross. You're singing and dancing, and the father is holding your hand, and you cross the road very easily. But when you're not holding the father's hand, you have to look to the left, you have to look to the right. And if the cars are coming, you have to estimate the speed. You have to see when you can cross. So life of Sharanagati is like this. When we don't hold Krishna's hand, crossing over the road of material existence is very difficult. We have to try our best on our own, and we will struggle, and there will be accidents. But Prahlāda Maharaj is holding the hand of Krishna. And actually, he is in the lap of Krishna. Krishna has held him in his hand and he's crossing the road. So Prahlāda Maharaj has no fear. Jivan hamara bigda hai, rakshak hamara tagda hai. Why fear when I am here? That's the point. Hiranyakashipu teaches us, however brutal calamity, reversals, trouble, anxiety, stress, uncertainty could be, and however small Prahlāda like our bhakti could be, we must always remember our protector is way more stronger than the problems. Simple. If Nṛsiṁha can come for Prahlāda, that Nṛsiṁha is always there for all the devotees. This we must understand. Depending on the Supreme Lord and being fearless. We are on the lap of the Supreme Lord. So when Hiranyakashipu asks Prahlāda, where do you get so much strength from? Look at what Prahlāda Maharaj says in 7th verse. Sri Prahlāda Uvacha. Na kevalam me Bhavatascha rajan savai balam balinam cha paresham pare varemi sthira jangamaye brahmadayo yena vasham pranita. Prahlāda Maharaj is speaking. Na kevalam me, oh dear father, not just my strength, bhavatascha rajan, even your strength, and balinam balam, and even the strength of those who are strong, and cha aparesham, and even those who are demigods, demons, asuras, manavas, everybody's strength. Pare, avare, those who are younger, those who are older, sthira jangama, those who are moving, those who don't move, brahmadaya, from Brahmaji up to the ant, yena vasham pranita, all of them are under the vasha, under the control of Vishnu. Not just me getting the strength from Vishnu, Even you get your strength from Vishnu. All the demigods get their strength from Vishnu. All the demons get their strength from Vishnu. Everyone who's a human gets his strength from Vishnu. All moving and non-moving get their strength from Vishnu. Demigods from Brahma up to an ant get strength from Vishnu. And those who are younger and older all get from Vishnu. And seems like I am also getting it from the same Vishnu. Now Hiranyakashipu is getting even and even. It's like adding more and more salt to the wound. Srila Radhanath Maharaj explains. When Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlāda Maharaj, what is the best thing that you have learned? All that Prahlāda Maharaj could have said is mathematics, let's say. He could have just said mathematics. What's the best thing that you've ever learned? 1 + 1 is 2. That's the best thing I've learned. If he would have said like that, Hiranyakashipu wouldn't have attempted to kill Prahlāda. Usse hota ye, Prahlāda Maharaj is doing his bhajan and he's quiet and Hiranyakashipu is also happy and there is no trouble. Seems like a good proposal. But Prahlāda Maharaj felt, if I would have said mathematics is the best thing I've learned or sociology is the best thing I've learned, he is lying to Hiranyakashipu. Prahlāda Maharaj is ready to go through all that torture out of compassion, just to speak the truth to Hiranyakashipu. Maybe his heart may change. If he says 1 + 1 is 2 is the best thing I have learned, Prahlāda Maharaj is being very smart and protecting his bhakti, but Hiranyakashipu is still going down the drain. Prahlāda Maharaj is ready to go through fire and being thrown from the cliff and being crushed under the feet of elephants and being crushed by the strangulating power of cobras and the hissing of their poison. He is ready to be attacked with deadly weapons, but he is ready to speak and preach to Hiranyakashipu with the desire maybe Hiranyakashipu's heart may melt. Maybe he may become a bhakta. Like Nityananda Ram. He is ready to be hit by the pot, half-broken liquor pot, but he will still go to Madhai. Like Srila Prabhupada, he will speak the truth. He will not sugarcoat. He will not water down the philosophy just for acceptance. So many gurus do that. They just speak whatever is popular, whatever is funny, whatever is more intellectually stimulating. And they get a lot of followers, but andaya thandaya rupadiyamana tepisya tantra murudham nibaddha. Both go to hell. But Prahlāda Maharaj is trying to lift Hiranyakashipu up. And he's thinking, this is a very nice way I can speak Harikatha to my father. So look what he says in verse 8. Sa Ishvara Kala Uru Kramoso Ojasah Sattva Balendriyatma Sa Eva Vishwam Parama Swashaktibi Srijatyavattyatti Gunatrayesha. Acha, kaun hai ye Bhagwan? Hiranyakashipu is thinking. विष्णु की बारे में कह रहे हो कि कोई अभी नया ड्रामा है? Is there someone else or is it the same Vishnu? स वही स ईश्वर. He is the same Supreme Lord. कैसे ईश्वर है? काल. He is time. In the past, he was the one. When I was in the womb, he gave me Hari Katha through my Guru. In the present, he is the one. Through me, he is giving you Hari Katha. And in the future, he is the one sitting in your heart, inspiring you to perform bhakti. Uru Krama. Uru Krama. Krama means steps, but Krama also means pastimes. And Uru means very wonderful. He performs very nice pastimes, oh dear father. Kaise pastimes? Srijati, Avati, Atti. He creates, he maintains and destroys. Atti mane kha lena. वो संसार बनाते हैं, बसाते हैं और उसी को खा लेते हैं. तो Urukrama, he is amazing. And Oja, Sattva Balendriyatma, he is the one who gives strength. Oja Shakti. हम सबके इंद्रियों में वही शक्ति देते हैं. He is giving me the power to speak. Prahlāda Maharaj is speaking. He is, oh dear father, he is giving you the power to hear and process. And Sattva, Bala Indriyatma, the strength that you have in all your ability, your tapasya, the sword fighting ability, your intelligence, it's all coming from Vishnu. And Parama, he is the greatest. Sa Eva, again he says Sa Eva. First line Sa, mane wo, Vishnu. A third line Sa Eva, wahi Vishnu, which means na anya, aap nahi. अपने आप को आप भगवान मत घोषित कीजिए. Don't announce yourself to be God. Sa eva, that Vishnu alone paramaha, swashaktibihi, with all his strength, guna traya ishaha. He is the Lord of sattva, rajas and tamas. He is the Lord of upper, middle and lower. He is the Lord of past, present and future. He is the Lord of Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. He is the Lord of the demigods, the daivas, the daityas, the manavas. He is the Lord of everything that exists, my dear father. Please surrender to him. Actually, in the Shastra, the word Keshava has been described very beautifully. Many times we think of what is the meaning of the word Keshava. So the one who has killed Keshi, that is Krishna, that is true. That is the meaning too, from Vraja perspective. But from the opulent perspective, it is described Ka Brahmano iti nama. Ka means Brahma. Ishoham sarvadehinam. And Isha means Lord Shiva. Avam tavanga sambhutau Keshava iti nama bhag. Tasmat Keshava nama bhag. That Lord Shiva is telling Mother Parvati, Ka means Brahma. And Isha means Lord Shiva. And Va means Vapu. From whose body, from Krishna's body, Brahma and Shiva manifest. That Lord is called Keshava. Keshava. Therefore, the Vishnu Sahasranam describes Udbhavaha Kshobano Devo Shri Garbha Parameshwara. Maybe we can remove the screen for, what do you call it? We can stop the screen share for some time. I'll just explain the Vishnu Sahasranam. This is quite interesting. Dear devotee, Shripad Baldev Vidyabhushan writes in his commentary to Vishnu Sahasranam. The Vishnu Sahasranam Stotra glorifying the Supreme Lord says, he is Udbhava. Udbhava mane he who creates this world. He creates. And Kshobana, he agitates this world by his glancing. Deva, Deva means he who is very opulent and very effulgent. Shri Garbha, Shri Garbha means when everything is taken up at the annihilation, everything goes back to his womb. And from his womb comes lotus where Brahma manifests. Shri Garbha. And Parameshwara, he is the Supreme Lord, the Lord of all that exists. Now Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan says these are the Aishwaryamai, opulent interpretations of these words. Now he describes Krishna in Vraja through these names. He says Udbhava. Udbhava means he who creates, correct? But he says Ut means up and Bhava means uproot. So Udbhava refers to Damodar, who through his wooden grinding motor uprooted the material existence of the two trees. So Krishna in Vraja is Udbhava. He uprooted the life of the two trees, Manigriva and Nalakuber, as the two trees, the sons of Kuber. And Kshobana, Kshobana means to agitate through glancing. So he says in Vrindavan, Krishna is, Sham Sundar is Kshobana because his flute sound agitates the hearts of the gopis. And Deva, he says the word Deva, Divi Dhatu in Sanskrit means Jyotyamana, he who is effulgent, but it also means Kridashil, he who is very playful. So baby Gopal running around stealing butter is actually Deva because he's very naughty. And when he steals butter outside, Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan says, his mother says, don't steal, you eat at home. So then what happens? Shri Garbha. He eats dirt. And when he opens his mouth, what happens? Shri, opulence is in his Garbha because the whole universe is shown in his mouth. The Mrid Bhakshan Leela. So Shri Garbha and Parameshwara. Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan says, Devi Krishna Mai Prokta Radhika Paradevata. The word Parama refers to Radharani. And Ishvara means Krishna. So Krishna is the Ishvara of Parama, Radharani. Therefore, he is Parameshwara. So in this way, you can see Krishna is Ishvara and he creates, maintains and destroys everything. And he is the Gunatraya Isha. He is the one who creates, maintains and destroys everything as the Supreme Lord. In this way, Prahlāda Maharaj, he tells Hiranyakashipu that all the strength comes from the same master, Sri Hari. To which Hiranyakashipu is saying, he can give you strength because you are his devotee. Why he will give me strength? He is my enemy. So Prahlāda Maharaj says, oh dear father, give up this thought that he is your enemy. Please give up this thought. He is not anybody's enemy. Actually, samam mano dhatsva. In the 9th verse he says, na santi vidvisha. There are no enemies. Na santi vidvisha. There are no enemies. Samam mano dhatsva. Now this word samam mano dhatsva has 3 meanings. Mano dhatsva means give your mind. Prahlāda Maharaj is telling Hiranyakashipu, give your mind. Give your mind to whom? The word says samam. Now that has 3 interpretations. Sam mane, sabko ek bhav se dekho. See everybody equally. So samam mano dhatsva, which means develop a vision where you see everyone with equal vision. There is no enemy or friend in this world. There is only one friend, and that is Krishna, and Krishna lives in everybody's heart. Ayam nija paro vetti gananam laghuchetasam udara charitanam tu vasudha eva kutumbakam. If Krishna lives in everybody's heart and your only attachment is to Krishna, then the whole world becomes your home and all the jivas become your family. So where is the enemy? So samam mano dhatsva. See everybody equally. This is the first meaning. Second meaning is, samam means see others' pain as your pain and see others' joy as your joy. So first meaning is see everyone, look at A equal to B and see B equal to C and see C equal to D, like that, everyone around. But second meaning is see their pain equal to your pain. See their joy equal to your joy. Become selfless, oh dear father, and live for others. Paropakarartham idam shariram. Be equal in seeing their pain to be your pain and their joy to be your joy. Or third meaning, the word sama is a name of Krishna, because samoham sarva bhuteshu. He is equal to everyone, therefore he lives in everybody's heart. So samam mano dhatsva means give your mind to Krishna who is equal. And if you give your mind to Krishna who is equal, then even your mind will develop that equal vision towards everyone. And then finally, Prahlāda Maharaj, he tells Nṛsiṁha, not Nṛsiṁha, but Hiranyakashipu, that the only enemy every living entity has is uncontrolled mind. अगर मन प्रभु के चरणों में है, सब कुछ तो सुलभ है, सब कुछ तो बढ़िया है. All of us can know this for a fact. Let's say there is a surgery being performed and we are on general anesthesia. पूरा शरीर हमारा अंदर गोविंदाय नमो नमः चल रहा है. We are on general anesthesia or local anesthesia, whatever. And surgery is being performed. We don't feel any pain. Why? Because mind is somewhere else. Mind is not, the consciousness is at that point there in that specific area where the anesthesia has been used. The consciousness is not, we are not feeling the nerves there because the mind and the focus from that point has been taken away. So imagine if somebody's mind is at the lotus feet of Krishna, then they don't even realize what's happening to this body. It's like a general anesthesia on a transcendental platform, not just for a few minutes or an hour or a few hours. Their consciousness is Krishna graha grihitatma. They're completely Krishna bhakti rasa bhavita mati kriyatam yadi kutopi labhyate. Their consciousness has completely become like a rasgulla. If there is a gulla completely in the ras, it's dipped in the ras. You take it out and you squeeze it, only ras comes out throughout. And in your fingers also only ras. And then you shake hand with someone and there is only ras in their fingers also. And now that you put in your mouth and there is only ras. Why? Because it is completely dipped in ras. So imagine if our mind is the gulla in the ras of Krishna's gunavali, Krishna's glories, then whoever comes in contact with us, they will also become like that. Therefore, don't hear Hari Katha, please. My request is, nobody should hear Hari Katha. Jivan, aapka material life will get disrupted. Happily disrupted. So by hearing Krishna Katha, mind is at the lotus feet of Krishna and we don't see. Vishwam purna sukhayate vidhi mahendradisha kitayate yad karunya kataksha vai bhavavatam tam gaurame vastuma. Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati says, this world which is Dukhalayam becomes Sukhalaya because mind is at the lotus feet of Sri Hari. So Prahlāda Maharaj tells Hiranyakashipu, आप अपने मन को प्रभु के चरणों में, मनमोहन के चरणों में दे दो मन. That is the only thing which makes hell into heaven and heaven into hell. Imagine if someone has a stone in their shoe and they're walking. What happens? At every step there is pain. Externally there is no problem. There are no stones outside, but there's one stone in the shoe. So when they are walking, every step is painful. Now if you remove that stone from the shoe, then when you walk, you're comfortable. There's no problem. So our mind is like that stone. If there is something wrong inside of us, this is the shoe, and if there is a mind which is the stone inside, every circumstance we go into, there's only problem. We are only complaining about every circumstance. Even if everything is perfect outside, we are still complaining because the mind is creating this problem. On the other hand, if mind is peaceful, we have taste in hearing, chanting, and remembering about Krishna. One can be in Lanka and still be Vibhishan. Or one can be in Ayodhya and make it into Manthara. If the mind is uncontrolled. Therefore, 11th canto describes, Nayam janome sukha dukkha heto na devatatma griha karma kala mana param karanam amananti samsara chakram parivartayetyat. The only thing that is the cause of our suffering in this world is our own mind. Please, everyone, we all should remind ourselves of this point. The only person, the only thing that causes suffering in this world is our own mind. And this is the teaching that Prahlāda Maharaj is giving to Hiranyakashipu. He tells Hiranyakashipu, what is the use, O father? Inside you're looted by the 6 anarthas. He's telling his father. 6 anarthas, lust, anger, greed, ityadi, are looting. Andhasya me rita viveka mahadhanasya chaurai prabho bali birindriya nama dheyai mohanda kupa kuhare vinipatitasya devesha dehi kripanasya karavalambham samsara vriksham agabhijam ananta rupa shakayutam karana patra mananga pushpam aruya dukkha palinam patitam dayalum lakshmi Nṛsiṁha mama dehi karavalambham. The first verse was by Sri Kulashekara in Mukundamala Stotra, and the second is by Sripad Adi Shankaracharya. So what does this mean? It means andhasya me hrita viveka mahadhanasya. We have a great dhan, wealth called vivek, buddhi. What to do with time, what to do with our life, what to do with our senses. And there are 6 road robbers, plunderers. हम कहीं जाते हैं तो कई बार लोग कहते हैं ना, रात में मत जाइए, वहां पे डकैती होती है. There are goons, plunderers. So Kulashekara, he describes, on the path of this world, my Lord, I am carrying this great wealth called discrimination or intelligence. And it is being stolen by the road robbers called lust and pride and envy and jealousy, ityadi. As a result, I have fallen into the well of helplessness. My Lord, please put your hand inside and lift me up, he says. And Sripad Adi Shankaracharya also says the same thing. The seed called as sin has created a tree called as this world, where I am climbing to get the fruit of joy, climbing on the branches of my own karmic activities, eating the leaves of lusty activities. And then when I eat the fruit, thinking that it is joy, it is only suffering, and I fall down from that tree. Oh, Nṛsiṁha, please help me. Quite pictorial and graphic. So Prahlāda Maharaj tells Hiranyakashipu, you have conquered the 10 directions outside, and in your heart, the 6 anarthas are looting you. What is the point? Whom are you trying to teach? Who is the friend and who is the enemy? You are destroying your own life. Please wake up, oh dear father. Rise to the occasion. Understand what human life is meant for, and then perform bhakti. This was the last nail to the coffin. After which, next year, hopefully, we will see. Hiranyakashipu takes on Prahlāda Maharaj. And Prahlāda Maharaj doesn't take on Hiranyakashipu. He just stands there. Dukhiya ko na sataiye, dukhiya dega roye, और दुखिया के जब मुखिया देखे तो तेरी गति का होए. It means दुखिया को न सताइए. Don't take on Prahlāda Maharaj. Why? Dukhya dega roy. Prahlāda Maharaj will drop a tear remembering Nṛsiṁha Dev. और दुखिया के जब मुखिया आए तो तेरी गति का होए. And then when Nṛsiṁha Dev comes, and then what will happen to Hiranyakashipu? That it's for all of us to read in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So on this most auspicious occasion of Nṛsiṁha Caturdaśī, we pray to three personalities. We pray to Prahlāda Maharaj to give us a drop of the determination that he had, to hear the words of his Guru Maharaj, our Guru Maharaj, like he heard the words of his Guru Maharaj, followed it in life, preached it, and lived by that determination, and to tolerate everything that comes just on the power of the words of our Guru Maharaj. This is the first thing we pray. Second thing we pray. This we pray to whom? We pray to Nṛsiṁha Dev. That my Lord, if the Prahlāda in me gets weak, you never get weak. You are eternally strong. If the Hiranyakashipu of Maya energy takes on the little Prahlāda in my heart, oh Nṛsiṁha Dev, you please protect me. Give my consciousness another chance. I am not as good as Prahlāda Maharaj, but I trust your Kripa Shakti more than my Bhakti. Actually, Srila Sridhar Swami writes this in the 7th canto purport. He says, Nṛsiṁha Dev, in his heart, he is Kripamrita Sindhu, he writes. He says he's an ocean of nectarian mercy. He came only to shower mercy on Hiranyakashipu, but externally, he expressed that through anger. So we want to pray to Nṛsiṁha Dev that you please, as the king among lions, always keep this cub near your lotus feet and protect me on the path of bhakti. And the third thing we pray is to Srila Prabhupada, that may we follow his example of attraction to Prahlāda Maharaj and unlimited compassion for fallen conditioned souls. May we become selfless in our intention, sincere in our practice, and compassionate in our preaching. This is all that we want, and this is all that we pray for. Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.